Hello and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. I'm thrilled that we have Penny here with us again. She is the founder of Manual Magic AI and also has loads of experience in creating this SOPs. So, Penny, please introduce yourself and your business to our audience.
Well, I'm delighted to be here, Tony. And yes, I'm Penny Hopkinson. I'm the CEO of Manual Magic AI, which is a platform that enables you to create SOPs, your standard operating procedures, faster, better, and even more cheaply than you could ever imagine.
Exactly. So why is it important for someone to actually have the standard operating procedures in their business?
Oh gosh, it's manyfold. I mean, the first is that you need to protect your intellectual property, and that is a brilliant way of doing it. Create your business system, which is based on your minimum operating standards, and that will protect your IP. But the next thing is if, as a solopreneur or running a very small business, you were to fall long-term sick and you couldn't operate, who would do it? You couldn't give any instruction to anybody because you don't have your standard operating procedures written down. And then finally, if you want to sell your business and add value for the sale, you need to have an operations manual that will enable you to add that value.
Exactly. And then how do you help the businesses when it comes to creating standard operating procedures? I know from the previous episode you were mentioning as well that you work with some really amazing big names. So can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yes, well, generally, somebody comes to me and says either they don't have an operations manual or they've got one that's very out of date. And it is really common to find that the manual is really out of date and can be misleading. So they asked me, how can we either create the manual or update it with a minimum of fuss? Now, in the old days, you would start creating the structure, and then you'd use that to allocate your project team content creators, and then they would flesh it out. I would edit it as a professional editor of about 40 something years. And because of my franchise knowledge in particular, that's really helpful because there are all those nuances that you need to add in. And then they would either find the correct platform or you can suggest a platform. You can also take an out of date manual and break it apart and rebuild the structure. But that used to take an absolute age. I mean, for example, when I did the AA driving school, the Automobile Association, that took us nearly 9 months. Now, in today's fast moving society or business climate, you don't have that luxury. And if you're launching a business, you want something quick. So I developed Manual Magic AI specifically to help franchisors, licensors, multi-site businesses, and solopreneurs to create their standard operations procedures, upload their intellectual property, whatever it is. It could be the old manual that needs to be updated. It could be a franchise agreement and marketing materials, plus a business plan, anything that's scattered across all the files all the folders you've got, and we can upload 200 at a time. So that's quite meaningful. And so what happens is that in the AI assisted part of the app, all the information is assimilated and broken into my standard 6 categories. And those are introduction, setup and support. If you're setting up a new business and you need to replicate that setup process for the first year of a business's life. People, everything to do with structure, job descriptions, you name it, anything that manages that process. Marketing promotion, which is self-evident. Day-to-day operating requirements, so that's everything that you do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and then finally annually on the financial side. And then we've got business development, growth, and profit. The bit that so many people miss out. But it's not just that. When you subscribe to the app, the first thing you see is a dashboard. And the dashboard has those categories marked down as 0% completed. When they're populated, that will increase to tell you how much has been done. And when you start it off, you need to answer questions about the business, your reader, because the target reader is very important. You don't speak to the same reader if it's, let's say, it's a supervisor or a manager. You have slightly different ways of addressing them and getting the information across. With the tone, we need to know about your brand. We need to know about the regulations that govern your sector and a few other things.
Exactly. So speaking about this sector, like who is this suitable for when it comes to niches or industries?
This is particularly good for any business that has it's B2B, B2C, and I would say that the best ones of all are the fast food hospitality sector, QSR, and the care sector, personal care,
Yes.
health, fitness, retail. Let me think of other sectors.
So it seems like it's covering a wide range of industry and niches. Yeah, it's covering even like the service-based businesses, and then on top of that, like product-based businesses. Yeah.
And,
Or
and one man in a van, for providing services, technical services, for example, drains, um, 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 fire damage. When you've got a cleaning company, you need those procedures readily available.
wow. That's phenomenal. Okay, so that's great. And how people can actually find out more about this and connect to you or find out more about the Manual Magic AI?
They could go to www.manualmagic.ai, and it's all there. And we go live on the 17th of February at 1 o'clock. So you'll be able to subscribe. You're not held to a long-term subscription. And the whole idea is that it's available when you need to use it, and it's at a price that reflects a multi-generational target audience, and different learning styles and abilities.
Great. And then how much faster can someone actually build their SOP, standard operating procedures, using manual magic AI compared to, hiring someone or doing it themselves?
Well, let's just take a little example. In order to create your manual, you've got to create a structure with detailed contents before you start. So that takes quite a substantial amount of time. We've actually done that for you within the app. The next stage is creating the content, because writing SOPs is a specialized skill, and you don't necessarily know where to start. So the app builds that. You press generate, and that generates instantly the framework for the standard operating procedure.
Wow, that sounds phenomenal. So, also, how is your system actually better compared to if we just use the standard AI chatbots?
There's no comparison. Ours has been trained on 40 years of experience, my substantial database, and it's AI assisted. So the whole point of it is that we amplify users' expertise. We don't replace it. So we do all the heavy lifting, and then you put the finishing touches, those brand nuances that you need to make sure are there. 9 times out of 10, they will be, because that's in your intellectual property that you've uploaded. But finally, you have the ability, through expertise, to make this a really amazing operations manual that distinguishes your brand from your competitors.
Phenomenal. Penny, thank you so much for being a guest. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for giving us this great information about Manual Magic AI. Thank you all for watching and listening. If you have any questions for Penny or me, you can ask them in the comments. And then on top of that, you can check out the description where I left the actual link to the Manual Magic AI as well. See you all in the next episode. All the best and bye bye. Thank you, Penny.
Thank you.